have had the epidemic for close to a year now, and we look forward to the next update from the President on measures to limit the spread of COVID-19. Since the epidemic started, bars and restaurant operators, border operators, taxi operators, and fresh produce traders have borne the brunt of the impact. Unfortunately, quite a number of bars and restaurants have had to shut down because of the epidemic. The first wave of closure happened when all the bars, restaurants, and nightclubs were ordered to shut at the beginning of the pandemic in Kenya. Well, there was some relief for the sector when the government allowed partial reopening. Things have not improved well enough for the sector to full recover. Today, more than 30% of the bars and restaurants that were in operation before the pandemic have shut down completely. That's about 16,000 businesses that have collapsed. And given that every restaurant employs at least 10 to 20 people minimum, that's about 160,000 people losing their livelihoods. In addition, because bars and restaurants are working on one shift instead of the usual two, we have been forced to reduce our staff by half, which means that close to 190,000 workers are out of jobs.
While we have lamented the reduction of operating hours and operating on reduced capacity to allow for social distancing, we have witnessed worrying trends from the transport industries, leaders, and elected representatives. It's important to remember that those of us who have come back to work and still have to pay the levies and operating fees due to both county government and national government. Even as the ban on political and roadside gatherings was in January extended to this month, March, we continue to see more and more of them every other day. And without adherence to the measures to limit the spread of COVID-19, such as wearing masks and social distancing. We, on the other hand, continue to suffer while adhering to these laws. Bars and restaurants and their patrons across the country have been on the receiving end as police enforce the measures, yet we have not seen any of these politicians punished for holding a gathering contrary to the same guidelines. This failure to punish the breach of law while continuing to ruthlessly enforce the same laws on another group of people simply because they are not as powerful or connected as others amounts to a breach of the human right to earn a living through lawful means. It has become increasingly evident that the infection rates are not wholly determined by the fact that this or that sector is in operation, as they have been climbing over the past 3 weeks, even with bars and restaurants operating on reduced hours. We believe that with the adherence to guidelines implemented by our sector, the increasing number of infections could be attributed to other sectors. We would therefore like to appeal to His Excellency the President to consider our plight and lift the restrictions on operating hours or reduce the curfew hours, if not doing with it away altogether.
Pande yetu ya taxi tumekuwa na kazi ngumu sana na ugumu mingi sana. Kazi yetu tumekuwa tukifanya kama shift mbili. Na hii shift mbili sasa sifanyi kazi. Ni shift moja inafanya kazi peke yake mchana. Usiku hatutembei. Na wakati mwingine tunapata shida kubwa sana. Unapeleka mtu mahali na masaa imekukamatia pale. Hiyo masaa ikukamatia pale inabidi tu ulale, ni kama unalala msituni. Ni kama unaweka gari yako hapo mahali, unatafuta mahali mwangaza iko, unaweka gari unalala. Ambaye imekuwa ni shida kubwa kabisa. Pia magari yetu ambayo tuko nazo ni salon. Hizi magari salon kulipa hii loan ni ngumu sana kwa sababu hatufanyi kazi masaa yote 24. Pia sisi kama taxi operators, shida yetu imekuwa mingi, hata chakula kuweka kwa mesa imekuwa ngumu, kulipa nyumba imekuwa ngumu, school fees kwa watoto wetu tumekuwa na shida kubwa sana. Na tuseme taxi operators ambaye tuko na taxi operators zaidi ya 20,000. Hawa watu 20,000 tumekuwa tukitegemea hii kazi ya taxi. Na sasa imefikia mahali watu wengi wamekuwa kama shida, wako kazi, watu wengine wameenda vitu vingine ambaye asiwezi sema wameenda vitu gani. Kile ningeomba rais wetu, ningeomba rais daktari atufungulie, tuwe na kazi yetu masaa 24 na tufuate tu, na tunafuata masharti yote ya afya ambaye yamewekwa na wizara.
Would like to urge our dear President, His Excellency, to help us by reducing the restrictions on the hours, because with less patrons coming to the bars, then we also don't have people to buy our goods to sell to. Yet we support farmers all the way in Mashinani, coming all the way from there, bringing produce here. But without this market flow, then we cannot be able to have that continuity in terms of flourishing the businesses up. So that would be my appeal and request, and hope that this can be heard.